Hi readers, welcome back to my channel, Lila Wanders and Reads, Lee here, and welcome to my Weekend Books Broken Vows edition. And I figured a big glass of wine would be appropriate for this video. If you've watched my videos, you'll know that last week, I think it was, maybe the week before, I promised myself that between July and the end of September, I would only buy new releases. And there was a few exceptions. Didn't count book subscriptions. In my mind, if Barnes & Noble offered triple points, I would let that slide as well. They are offering double points right now, but this does not count because I have lost all control. Anywho, would you like to hear about what I got? I'll let you know. So, this is really some Amazon purchases and some Barnes & Noble purchases that I made today. And I really shouldn't have, but whatever. Anywho, first off, The Goddess of Warsaw by Lisa Barr. Y'all know I love a book about World War II, or set around World War II. And in this one, before she was a living legend, Lena Browning was Bina Blonsky, a wealthy Polish Jew whose life and prominent family were destroyed by the Nazis, who imprisoned them in a ghastly ghetto with the rest of Warsaw's Jews. Determined to fight back, the beautiful blonde Aryan-looking Bina becomes a spy and an assassin, my kind of girl, gaining information and stealing weapons outside the Warsaw ghetto to protect her family and fellow Jews. While Bina accomplishes amazing feats of bravery, she sacrifices much in the process, including forbidden love. More than a decade after escaping the horrors of the war, Lena Browning rises to fame in Hollywood. Yet she cannot help but hunger for revenge against the Nazis who escaped justice after the war. Fierce and fearless, Lena uses her star power to right the past's wrongs, and perhaps even find the happy ending she never had. Interested, I've had this in my Amazon wish list forever, but this morning when I was at the Barnes & Noble, I saw it on one of the tables and I had to buy it. Of course, right? So I went into Barnes & Noble this morning. I am recording this on a Sunday. I went in to pick up three books that I had bought online for pickup in store, because that allegedly helps me from buying other shit while I'm in the store. This time it did not. So I was looking at considering a book that was up at the front of the store, but the author had written something earlier, so I went back to the fiction section to look for that, and lo and behold, I stumbled on Josie Silver's One Night on the Island, she's also written One Day in December, which I think I've read and liked. I can let you know. It's in my app. One Day, nope, that's not it. I did read that. I loved it. And I also read The Two Lives of Lydia Bird that she wrote. I liked that. I can't remember that as well as One Day in December. I actually don't remember One Day in December. I just remember that it made me feel good and I liked it. So in One Night on the Island, spending her 30th birthday alone is not what dating columnist Cleo Wilder wanted, but she plans a solo retreat at the insistence of her boss in the name of re-energizing herself and adding a new perspective to her column. The remote Irish island she's booked is a far cry from London, but at least it's a chance to hunker down in a luxury cabin and indulge in some self-care while she figures out the next steps in her love life and her career. Max Sullivan is also looking forward to some time to himself. With his life in Boston deteriorating in ways he can't bring himself to acknowledge, his soul-searching has brought him to the same island to explore his Irish roots and find some clarity. Unfortunately, you know where this is going, right? A mix-up with the booking means both have reserved the same hideaway on exactly the same dates. Instantly at odds, Cleo and Mac don't know how they're going to manage until the next weekly ferry arrives. But as the days go by, they no longer seem to mind each other's company quite as much as they thought they would. So, this idea is great in a book, but I have to tell you, I've rented a cabin in Ireland before, and if I had to share that with some stranger, yeah, that would have been real uncomfortable. Anywho, this would be a fun read. Look forward to reading that. I haven't had a sip of my wine yet. Okay, the next book I think I heard about. It's either Greg or at Supposedly Fun, or another of the YouTubers that I watch on weekend mornings. But anyway, was not going to buy this book. It got mixed reviews. It's about a middle-aged woman, I guess. And I thought, it just doesn't sound like a good read to me. But when I read the first, 2 pages of Sandwich by Catherine Newman, I knew I had to have this book. It's not long. It's 226 pages. And it just started out so fun that, how could I not? For the past 2 decades, Rocky has looked forward to her family's yearly escape to Cape Cod. Their humble beach town rental has been the site of sweet memories, sunny days, great meals, and messes of all kinds, emotional, marital, and, thanks to the cottage's ancient plumbing, septic, too. That's what I walked in on when I started reading. This year's vacation with Rocky, sandwiched between her half-grown kids and fully aging parents, promises to be just as delightful as summers past, except, perhaps, for Rocky's hormonal bouts of rage and melancholy. Hello, menopause. Her body is changing. Her life is, too. And then a chain of events sends Rocky into the past, reliving both the tenderness and sorrow of a handful of long-ago summers. It's one precious week. Everything is in balance. Everything is in flux. And when Rocky comes face to face with her family's history and future, she is forced to accept that she can no longer hide her secrets from the people she loves. So, the writing voice is really what solidified this for me. I'll be giving Sandwich a read soon. Seems like a summer book. So, the next book is actually one that one of my dad's friends was reading, and I saw it on Goodreads. I thought it was like nonfiction, but it's not. It's totally fiction, and it's from the author of World War Z, which I have not read, and that is Devolution by Max Brooks. Can you guess what this is about? As the ash and chaos from Mount Rainier's eruption finally settled, the story of the Green Loop massacre has passed unnoticed, unexamined, until now. The journals of resident Kate Holland, recovered from the town's bloody wreckage, capture an unforgettable tale of strength and resilience, of humanity's defiance in the face of a terrible predator's gaze, and inevitably, of savagery and death. In these pages, Max Brooks brings Kate's extraordinary account to light for the first time, faithfully reproducing her words alongside his own extensive investigations into the massacre and the legendary beasts behind it. Part survival narrative, part bloody horror tale, part scientific journey into the boundaries between truth and fiction, this is a Bigfoot story that blurs the lines between human and beast and asks what we are capable of in the face of the unimaginable. It has got it's like found footage or found journal in that, in this, and it looks so fabulous. So it's going up to here to read soon. A couple of weeks ago now, I watched on Nat Geo the special called Erased, and it's about people of color in World War II whose stories didn't get told. And I went on a book buying binge after that as well, because that's how I do. And I realized that I had very few books about World War II written that involve people of color. So I did a search, ended up still not finding a lot. But I did find The Last Thing You Surrender by Leonard Pitts Jr. And in this, an affluent white Marine survives Pearl Harbor at the cost of a black mess man's life, only to be sent, racked with guilt, to the Pacific and taken prisoner by the Japanese. A young black woman, widowed by the same events at Pearl, finds unexpected opportunity and a dangerous friendship in a segregated Alabama shipyard feeding the war. A black man who, as a child, saw his parents brutally lynched, is conscripted to fight Nazis for a country he despises, and discovers a new kind of patriotism in the all-black 761st Tank Battalion. Which means I need to change the next book. So, I look forward to reading this. It is a bit of a long book, and I just read a really long book, so I'm going to hold out on this for maybe until next month. But this looks to be, I've been looking for some fiction that contained African Americans or Black Americans in World War II, and this is one of the few that I've been able to find. If you know of any other fiction books set in World War II specifically that contain Black Americans, please let me know in the comments, because I'm on the hunt. I need more books like that. So, speaking of the 761st Tank Battalion in World War II, that battalion, I think I called it a division in one of my videos. My bad. I was going off the cuff and I panicked. So that battalion was also featured in the Nat Geo special Erased. So because of that, I bought The Black Panthers, A Story of Race, War, and Courage, and it's about the 761st Tank Battalion in World War II. This is going... Oh Lord, I've got my next nonfiction book buried. So this is going to be one of my next nonfiction books this year. I will be reading it this year, but first I'm going to read Forgotten, which contains, maybe not all, but Untold Story of D-Day's Black Heroes at Home and at War. So this contains the 761st. It also, the 320th Barrage Balloon Battalion. I think it's got both of them. Anywho, I'm reading this one first. This will come next. And I've got off on a tangent. The next book is a new release, so it did not count as part of my blowout. I could not resist this book. I read recently The Stepford Wives, and because of that, I watched the original movie, The Stepford Wives, kind of before and during while I was reading the book. Then I watched the new, air quotes, it's probably 20 years old version, the remake of it, with Nicole Kidman. And then I watched, Friday night, I watched Don't Worry, Darling by Olivia Wilde. So I've got a thing going on. And when I saw, first of all, this cover, and Whoever You Are, Honey by Olivia Gatwood, I had to buy this. I would have bought it for the cover alone. I've made some bad choices on buying from covers this year, but also on this one, I've got high hopes. It really just smacks of the Stepford Wives to me. What was once a dystopia may now be reality. On the Santa Cruz waterfront, every house is a flawless glass monolith, except for one. In a dilapidated bungalow, Mitty and her elderly roommate, Bethel, are an oddball pair who represent the last vestiges of a free-spirited town taken over by the tech elite. But their lives are about to be forever changed when a new couple, Sebastian and Lena, move in next door. Sebastian is a renowned tech founder, and Lena is his spellbound spellbindingly perfect girlfriend. But Lena has secrets. She feels uneasy about her oddly spotty memory and is growing increasingly wary of the way Sebastian controls their relationship. Mitty is also hiding something, and the way Lena appears to float through her luxurious life draws Mina inexorably into her orbit. As the two women begin to form a close friendship, they are finally forced to face their pasts and the urgent truths that could change everything. I'm dying for this to be a good book. I hope that this is everything I want it to be. I hope it's everything I want it to be. I've really been on a great Stepford Wives run. So that's going up into the big tottering pile of read soon, which always ends up not being read soon, but I really want to read that one. Okay, so earlier when I talked about how I stumbled on the Josie Silver, I said I had been looking at a book at the front of the store, but I wanted to look at the author's book that she had written prior to that. But I ended up not getting the prior book. I got the one at the front of the store, and that is the Hazelbourne Ladies Motorcycle and Flying Club, a novel by Helen Simonson. And I got this because it's set right after World War I, and summer of 1919, Constance Haverhill is without prospects. All the men have returned from the front, and she's been asked to give up her cottage and her job at the estate she helped run during the war. So while she looks for a position, she's sent as a lady's companion to an old family friend who's convalescing at a seaside hotel. Then she gets swept up into a social whirl of Hazelbourne-on-Sea after she rescues the local baronet's daughter, Poppy Wirral, from a social faux pas. Anywho, so she and Poppy get on, and things are more complicated than they seem in the sunny pocket of English high society. As the country prepares to celebrate its hard-won peace, Constance and the women of the club are forced to confront the fact that the freedoms they gained during the war are being revoked. So first of all, I love a book set in England, and this being a post-war World War I novel really just spoke to me. I've had it I've had my eye on it for a while, and today I was like, what the hell? And I bit the bullet. Last two books that I got are fiction. This is what happens when I read nonfiction as a purse book. I go to the sources, and then I'm like, oh, I must have that source. And first one I got is Hitler's Blitzkrieg campaigns, the invasion and defense of Western Europe, 1939 to 1940, by J.E. Kaufmann and H.W. Kaufmann. This, obviously, this is fascinating. It's got pictures, preparations for war, critical days. It's got maps, like fighting maps. Like the offensive begins May 10th to 12th, 1940. So this is going to be a fascinating reference for my studies. And I don't know when I'll get to it because I just glared myself in the face. Did y'all see that, or it was just me? Anywho, I've got a ton to read before and then. Now, the next book, the final book, is one that I plan to use as a reference soon. I have signed up starting July 29th for an online continuing ed class through the World War II Museum. This one's on the origins of the Holocaust. So I bought The Holocaust by Martin Gilbert. It's a history of the Jews of Europe during the Second World War. This book is heavy. I had to buy a used copy of it. It is also mentioned in the current book that I'm reading, The Storm of War. He uses it as a reference. And I plan to use it as a reference for some of my studies in this continuing ed class, which will hopefully help me decide if I want to try to get my master's degree in World War II studies or not. So, anywho, that is my Broken Vows book hauls, multiple. Oh, and come back and meet with me tomorrow where I will talk to you about the New York Times 100 Best Books of the 21st Century, and you'll realize that this haul is not the only haul I've done today. Anywho, that's it for me. I hope to see you soon. Hey, I'd also like to hear from you down in the comments if you've made it this far. I'd love to hear what you're reading and if you have any thoughts about what I should read next. I've gotten from Floss at the Grape Jelly Library and from Victoria, one of my commenters, some great ideas. I've done 2 videos based on some comments that they've made, so your comments are really helpful. And if you've got an idea, I'll do my best to do a video on it. Happy reading!